Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good night. I never know where everybody is, but it is 8 a.m. and not sure if you have noticed, but the lighting in here is gorgeous today. And that's because there's a gorgeous snowy cloud bank coating the sun and diffusing the light. There's a lovely layer of snow on the ground and all the trees and all the rooftops. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is it's fucking winter here again. I have 2 more days in my isolation because here in Canada, if you show any kind of flu symptoms, they require you by law to isolate yourself in your abode. You're not going out. You're not stepping out. You can step outside into your private backyard if you have one, which I don't. I live in an apartment. So you're not allowed to go to common areas. You can't go to the elevators. You can't go to the stairwells, meaning you just can't get outside. I can go on my balcony. So I am 8 out of 10 days into being isolated in the apartment, and I might be going a little crazy. Just a little bit. So anyway, it's great to see everybody. Let's see, Simon, happy Easter. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Stain, I look better today. Thanks, dude. I know you mean that in the best way. That's not at all something against last week. Plus, the lighting is better. Oh, it's getting a little sunnier now. Mike D's here. Nice to see you. 17 people already. This is fantastic. Graham. Hi, Graham. I don't think we've met before. Nice to see you, friend. Rosalind. But no, it's not Rosalind. It's Steve. Godders, you're hilarious. Get a Facebook profile, dude. Join the 21st century. Even that's late. Robert Logan, good to see you, buddy. Oh, Joe. Wave. It's great to see you all. Zed, the fams all there. Great. So make sure that as we are getting ready and I am wasting time, please queue up your match. So it's in the broadcast description, but here's another one just so you know. Alejandro, hola, ¿cómo estás? Let's see, Jono's here. So make sure you queue up the game. And before Jono gets to it, I'm going to give you the cue. It's 1:47:50 on the clock. How do you like that, Jono? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I know how to do things sometimes, occasionally. So get that match queued up. We are watching. Hi, Tim. We are watching Spain and France at the Olympic Qualifier. This is the second game of the 2-game series. Aggregate scoreline, and if I have this right, it was a tie in the first game, but France had got out to a 3-0 lead in Valencia and blew it. No, they didn't blow it, but Spain came back, played much better as the game went on. And yes, tied it up 3-3. I'm seeing it actually says the aggregate scoreline on the graphic, which is handy because they don't always do that in the FH scorelines. And yeah, we are just going to get ready to go very, very shortly. I'm hoping that everybody is doing their part and staying home and staying healthy and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, is everybody up and running? I have a backup of the broadcast. The broadcast is going to run, and I've got my local copy. I am super, super ready. I've got 5 clips for you today from this game. Lim! Hi, thanks. Good to see you. So, Lim, I'm going to cast this out to you right now, since you just commented. I know you're watching. I have a special announcement for all of you, but this is a challenge to Lim as well, that on the Tuesday midnight, so Wednesday for everybody else, broadcast of the Umpire at Home Facebook Live, David Tomlinson is going to be joining me live. I am so excited about this. I can't even. It's going to be so much fun. So, Lim, if you want in, DM me. Slide in my DMs, and we'll chat. So we are going to do one of David's games from the Pro League last year, Spain versus Argentina. So it's going to be really fun. He's promised many G&Ts and I will have many wines, and we will have a very, very enjoyable Q&A live dissection. It could be chaos, who knows? But hopefully the technology will allow all this to go. Elsa B, great to see you. Robert's ready, glad to see. Ewan is ready. Anybody else? Love to make sure that everybody is up and ready to go, and we are going to get this party started. Okay. Oh, Sebs, hi. I'm really happy to see you. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Send me a note. I'd love to chat. Andy Waller, great to see you. Ireland. I didn't know you were Irish, Andy. All right. Sounds like everybody's getting ready. So I am going to get myself completely queued up. So beginning of the first quarter, Spain versus France. Don't sleep on this. Mark is here. Hi, good to see you again. Just in case you have missed this. Here it is. Oops. The link should still sort of work. I hope. Okay. We are going to get started. Cue it up. I think I haven't had enough sleep, just so you know. Okay. Adelante, says Alejandro. So let's go. We are going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. Andy, I swear I either have half of my audience is Argentinian and the other half is English. I think it's because of my solid roots. So here we go. We are underway. And getting you up to speed. Hey, the reverse stick is checked in. Come on, Matt, cue something up. I can teach you a few things. We have on the field Koen, but I know I say his name wrong, but I'm going to speak Dutch someday. Koen's on the near side here on the right-hand side of your screen. And off on the other side, we've got my good friend Vergu over on the far side on the left. Hi, Tariq. Thanks for joining in. So as we're in the second game of the 2-game series Olympic qualifier, this is a very, very high pressure game. I had not ascended to the levels that either of these guys have in their career, but I had done some Olympic qualifier and World Cup qualifier tournaments, and these are very, very high pressure matches because of the economic impact it has on the national programs. So you can see right from the start there are tons of hands in the air, and because this is the one game. This is the one game that decides it all because it was tied on aggregate after it. So enjoying the action here. So I'm at 13:30. My tea is very hot. This is going to be fun. Hi, Duncan. So as the commentator pointed out correctly, and unfortunately that's probably the last correct thing he's going to say in this game, sorry buddy, there is a high press coming from France. So there's a lot of congestion on the field, lots of tackles getting thrown, and lots of testing of the umpires. And we have a goal. So I'll just let you guys watch that replay. Nothing contentious there, nothing to do, but a lovely goal. But I think what you can see there, and we're going to see it for the rest of this first quarter, that the sun is an absolute bitch right now. Like, Ragu is staring into it, and a goalkeeper at the level of Kiko Cortez wasn't able to properly pick out that ball. That's sun, man. That is the sun. And one thing that we need to think about as umpires is when we've got conditions like this, when we have the sun driving onto our eyes, is there anything we can do in our pregame talk to mitigate that right off the bat? Like, hey, I'm going to need your help in these areas. Go out on the field before the game starts. Have a look at what the sun is going to do to your vision and try to make those adjustments with your colleague as you cooperate. Okay, we're coming up to 12 minutes. Have a look at this play coming up the sideline. Nice sharp whistle there from Kuhn, and I'd like everybody to give it a stop right at 12 minutes, and we're going to look at our first clip because that was a little fun. Koichi, if I said that right, we are at 12 minutes, and we're going to look at our first clip. Robert, absolutely. Jamal! Okay, clip. I'll say hi to everybody after this. Okay, let's get ready. Here it comes. Okay, so the call was for a stick block. You could even call it a stick lift. And I've slowed it down so much you can even see the separation of the French attacker's stick, pushing away the Spanish stick away from the ball and then coming back. The fact that the ball doesn't change direction is often a really good sign that something funky is up. So I'll just show it one more time so everybody can see it. Okay, so here comes the replay again. There's going to be a stick lift right there. Okay, really good pickup. And when the play is going up your sideline like that, it's important to create an angle. We're getting more and more comfortable with the new positioning, creating that interior angle, but you might want to think about, you know, the exterior or interior, depending on how deep you are in the field, but get some kind of angle so that you can see. Also, as a supporting umpire can be more inside the field so they can help out over top if needed. All right, we're gonna get started again. Koichi's spitting out the Dutch. I like that. And if you're ready to get going, we are just about at 12 minutes in the first quarter. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Absolutely. I am going to pop this on the screen because I want to talk about this. We never see the umpires in a cap at international level. It would help. It can, but the reason that top umpires don't like to wear visors or caps is because it obscures their face. Now, the importance of being able to use all of your facial expressions, which really always stem from the eyes, is so critical in international hockey, even more so than local, because these players need to be able to pick up on your cues because they don't necessarily understand all the words that you might try to speak unto them. So having your eye ready having your eyes available is really important. I personally discourage it. I try not to do it. I think I've only done it once, and that's because I had already sunburned my eyes. That is a thing. Okay, you might be noticing that there's a little bit of, contestability here. And a lot of that is because Raghu is looking into the sun in this quarter, and it's delaying his whistle timing a little bit, and that's giving the players a bit of frustration. It's not the ideal way to start a game like this because you know it's already going to be high contest, and you want to, right out of the gates, have your crisp whistles, bang on accuracy, remove that from the players' minds, and the circumstances are a little difficult. I've already skipped like 3 sections of notes here, so I'll try to stay on track. Okay, and again, there was a low aerial there, high likelihood for danger, but it was really difficult for Raghu to get on top of that. And again, what I like is once the sun goes down, you can see his whistle timing picking up. But we do have another little situation coming up soon. Oh, it's going to be at 6 minutes, so we'll pause for that. I'm getting some sun here too. God, I'm going to have to do what Ragu's doing. I like to really feel the pain of the umpires on the pitch. I'll calm down my brightness. Okay, just past 9 minutes, Q1. Hi, Venkat. The internet is locked for Zed. I am at Q1, 8:30 coming up. And he's asking about the ball kids wearing the same color as Spain. Would it make a huge difference? You know, it wouldn't for the umpires, but it might for the players. And it's the responsibility of the organizing committee at these events and ultimately the tournament director to designate the colors and control that if it's an issue. You're at 9 minutes, Mark. Come on, catch up, buddy. Although apparently there's a 12-second lag between when I talk and when things appear to you on the Facebook Live, the things that I'm learning. So maybe you're right where you need to be. Remember, if you have any questions at all, any comments about what you've seen, please fire away. That's what I'm here for. That and tea drinking. Look at that sun. Wow. So coming up at about 6:10 in Q1, I don't clip, well, I clipped it, but I'm not going to show it on the broadcast. But I want you to pay a lot of attention. It's a very long, it's quite a long sequence where there is a bit of confusion. So here comes the play. The ball's going to go off the end line unintentionally by a Spanish defender. It's going to deflect off. Ragu has correctly signaled the corner hit. The ball's been tossed in by the ball person, and Xavi Leonard believes it's his ball. And then we have two balls on the pitch, and now everything's chaos. Watch Kuhn's body language and what he's doing in managing the players here. It's really, really nice. Trying to keep everything calm, and then when he realizes, okay, it's just a mess, let's stop time. Let's get everything sorted, and he really takes his time to get everybody in position. Nobody's angry. He's talking to the French captain there, and he's letting him know, hey, look, I need your help on this. Let's keep everybody under control. He takes his time to come back into his position, making sure he's properly set before he starts time. It takes a lot of time off the real life clock, none off the game clock because he has stopped time, and it really helps just to diffuse that situation. Players have short memories, and if you can just take some emotion out of it, the incident that was associated with their emotion is a little further from their brain, and now we can get on with playing some hockey. So that is a tactic you might want to think about when you are managing tough, confusing, messy situations, just to stop time. Have a conversation with the influence makers on the pitch. You may not have the captain available to you in close proximity, but you know who the players are who are really controlling things. So don't be shy about using them to get your messages in with everybody. There is a little bit of drama in this game with players going down. It's kind of fun to watch. And he hasn't given a penalty stroke. Raghu has given a penalty corner. I don't think the play-by-play guy gets any of these calls right. Absolutely, Tim. Lovely and calm. You got that right. Nina, thanks for joining us. I'm really glad that you're getting something out of this. I try to, relate things to many levels of the game if I possibly can and make it relevant. Absolutely, Mark. The body language is everything. Now, there was a comment earlier, I would want this. So Joe's suggesting that if you just trim down a cap, you're going to help. But as soon as you trim the cap, then you're going to actually have the sun going into your eyes. The whole point of a cap is to shade your eyes. So it has to come far enough out that your eyes are dark, in a darker area of your face. You're cut off like this, and then here's your mouth fully lit, but your eyes are in shade. And that's what the players need to see. They need to see all of this gorgeous, ridiculously good-looking stuff. So don't deprive them of what they need. Tim's asking if that was an intentional shoulder. No, maybe. This is a physical game. It's a big game, and it's early. So I think that Raghu can do a really good job at not overreacting to anything and trying to let the players do their thing. Remember, they're not going to throw in the big calls that are going to have an outsized impact to what opportunity was taken away. Because we know that both these teams have incredible penalty corner conversion rates, and they're not going to donate, calls that don't necessarily don't have the same impact on the game, if that helps. Okay, I'm at 3:30 left in quarter one. And I guess, Tim, what you want to look for, instead of looking for was that intentional or not, try to look at what effect it has a game. Have a bigger picture of what's happening rather than searching for fouls. Look for what does it change, and what do you feel you really need to manage at that point in the game in order to set the stage properly for the rest. If these guys get into cards too early, it's going to lead them into many, many yellows as the game goes on. Okay, a little contribution from Scott there. I mostly agree. I like to still encourage, even at club level, if you can handle it. I find that some umpires like to wear caps for no reason at all. Maybe it keeps their hair in place, and that's not a great reason to wear a cap. So at the end of the day, health and safety is more important. Okay, so we're at 2:42, and if you just saw that little play on the left sideline again, you had a defender coming in. Just in case you weren't sure, Tim, the umpire himself is here. Hi, Raghu. Buddy, DM me. We're going to get you on a broadcast soon. Yeah, good shout, Ruth. Also watch for the players' reactions. It's not that you're going to let them bait you into a call, but they will help you. Their first honest reaction will help you understand what effect that particular play had on the game. 2 minutes left in quarter one. I hope everybody is in tune and coming on. And the last comment that I want to make as we're getting to the end of this first quarter is that there has been a lot of appealing. And again, these two aren't going to overreact to that. They're going to try to win the players over with whistle timing, getting the game moving as quickly as possible, pausing the game when they need to. And the problem with reacting to appealing too much, allowing it to take your attention, maybe trying to tell the players, put your hands down, is that it distracts you as well from the play in motion. Now, neither of these teams is sleeping on the free hits, so they're getting the ball into play very, very quickly. You don't have the brain capacity to be going over there and then watching the play as it's already developed, 20 meters away. So try to focus on when you pick your moments. Is this a good opportunity to communicate with the players? What kind of stage do I need to set for the rest of the game? But at the end of the day, the most important thing you need to do is get your calls right. Especially, here's an instance here where we've got some appealing by the French defender. Off we go with 30 seconds left. The Spanish attacker decides to take the free hit, not at the right spot, and it's disadvantageous when it's that close to the circle. So Kuhn appropriately ignores the defender, gets the ball reset appropriately, and off we go. Okay, we're just closing down quarter one. Oh. All right, that is the end of quarter one. I'm going to give everybody a chance to queue up to quarter two. It's going to read 1:27:36 on the left-hand clock. Boom. So go ahead and queue that up. I'll give you a couple seconds though. And if you have any questions, comments about anything that happened in the first quarter, we've got at least one of the pitch umpires hanging out with us. Absolutely great to see you. And here come the questions. Okay. So I hope you guys are getting close to queued up. I'll just give you another couple seconds though. Hi, Cookie. Nice to see you. Great to see a little momentum going. Friends from all over the world. Jono, thank you very much. Q2 starts at 31:32 if you're dragging across. I just never get it right, do I, Jono? Always there to correct me. Okay, so hopefully everybody's ready to go. We're going to get to Q2, so you all have seen what's transpired so far. The sun is now out of Ragu's eyes, and he is the happiest kid on the block right now. And we're going to get started with Q2 in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. And this is so much better for watching it on the screen as well. So thanks, Ragu, for that. That's a really excellent point in that you don't always have to tell your colleague what you're doing. The fact that they can overhear your communication with the players is often the most powerful way to include and get the two of you on the same page. It's really nice that even those quiet side conversations can be overheard. And not a question in this game because the audio is not being shared on the stream. Boo. But it's something to consider for these umpires in this situation, that if they're conversing a little bit too much, especially with each other, that can just add some extra, it can reduce the entertainment level of the broadcast, let's put it the way. So that they are cognizant of the fact that they are being overheard by the entire international audience, and that is on the broadcast, that is there for good. So people watching the game on replay, years later, all that kind of stuff. So they're going to be a little careful about what they say. Run, Raghu, run! I actually don't have a ton of notes until about 6 minutes left to go in this quarter. So please, this is a great time to ask me all kinds of questions. Ask Raghu. Okay, so one of the things that had started the game and extended through is that because there was some difficulty with whistle timing earlier, is that for me in watching, is that there were a few times where players, like in the first quarter when Leonard took that 15-meter hit that absolutely wasn't a 15-meter hit, that the players might be trying it on. They've seen a little chink in the armor and they're going to try it on, but what you're going to see is that right here and at 12:30 left in quarter two, we have another instance, and Raghu is giving his best Mr. Potato Head angry eyes. He has popped those bad boys out of his back pocket, popped him in, and he is getting there. So we've got two different kind of approaches here. Kun's taking kind of the good cop, calming things down, and you know that's one of the faces that Kun can put on. Raghu can, in this instance, he's taking the bad cop and he's taking that role on. That's not his personality necessarily. He's got a wide range. He's got a nice repertoire of personality out there, but it's what he's decided he needs to pull out. And I hope I'm getting all this right, Raghu, that you're that I'm construing this, but I've seen you very laid back in games when things are going well and you're good at developing that rapport, but when you need to get in there, put on those angry eyes, pop them back in again. I'm glad this makes sense though when you're not even watching the game. Somebody was doing that in the last broadcast and I thought they were crazy, but I guess I can be entertaining at times. Who knows? The calm reaction to the player who's furious and at you, that is tough to do. And if you're a natural personality type, for me, I don't have a fight or flight response. I have a fight response. And so when anybody gets in my face, you may have noticed that on the internet, that if somebody argues with me, I argue back. So it's really, really effective to be able to meet that kind of aggression and overt emotion with just calm. Because all of a sudden you've just sort of absorbed it and that emotional energy isn't rebounding back to that player. Got our first card of the game here at 11 minutes, 10:50 left in Q2. If anybody knows what it was, I was too busy talking and I didn't note it down. I'm going to guess it was a breakdown. Gorgeous attacking aerial there. And what was nice about that again is that although the two players may have been within the 5-meter space, because it was lower and the trajectory was landing into a receiving area that made it clear that the initial receiver was the attacker, Raghu let that play on because it could be safely and completely controlled by that attacker in that situation. Hitting the ball away. Thanks, guys. I was wrong. So there you go. We do have actions where now they've given a little bit of time. The umpires gave a couple little warnings like, hey, I've had enough of that. Stop hitting the ball away. And then we step in with the green card. Good time in the game for it. Yeah, you do. Okay, we've got a penalty corner awarded at 9:18 down in the French defending circle. So this is an answer to Koichi's question. Could it have been a PC? It was outside the 23. Thanks. This is a collaborative effort, you guys. We're one big third team. Very deceptive on the broadcast, so I'm not going to get on the commentator for this one because that's tough. But you'll see on the replay that the ball goes centrally in the net, and it actually rebounds off the top of the backboard and out. And that's why it goes at such a crazy angle. There's a bit of spin on the ball, so you can watch on the replay here. The shot comes in, and it's just one of those odd pings. Remember, this is one of the reasons on penalty corners why you have your supporting umpire more centrally located in the pitch. And I know that at this level where they have video referrals, they are sometimes experimenting with moving more outside. But for the rest of us at home, being more central, being off that left post is going to help us with making those decisions for our colleague. What if the ball goes through the net and there's a hole? You're going to be in the right spot to be able to tell your controlling umpire, yep, it's a goal. And again, the faster you can make those decisions with more clarity, the better your credibility is going to be with the players. Just coming down to 8 minutes left in Q2. 23-meter restart for Spain. Fast fingers Jono there, explaining again. Also keep in mind that at this point in the world, in 2019, it was still an interpretation that was being used, the interpretation that I like, where not every card inside the 23-meter area needs to be upgraded with a team penalty. This was, I've talked about this on a few broadcasts already, but this was something that we saw over the last sort of 10, 12 years, where, especially at the top levels, the rules allow you to give cards for any reason, not just for intentional fouls. Go to the rule book, you'll see it's in there. And so sometimes it's better to address that kind of misconduct that doesn't have an impact on the game, but a message needs to be sent with a personal penalty. And they didn't want to donate those really unearned penalty corners that do have a really big impact on the game. So trying to make sure the scales of justice are there instead of going, oh, penalty corner. So that also could have been an element. Hard to say. Maybe Raghu has something to say about that, but I'm not going to bust him on that. In 2020, though, at the beginning of this year, the directive did come from the FIH umpiring committee that they wanted to see every penalty corner upgrade inside the 23 accompanied, that every card inside the 23-meter area must be accompanied with a penalty corner upgrade. I'm not a fan, but consistency is always the most important thing. As long as players know what's going to come, you have a chance. Coming to 6:30 left in Q2. I've got a lot more to say in the last 5 minutes of this quarter, so buckle up. It's a very emotional game. The players at every good play are just, rah, they're pumping their fists. They're so queued up. Okay, another aerial where the ball is falling to the attacker first. So that's one of those tough ones at 5:40 left. That wasn't why the penalty corner was called, but there was a turn and fire. You'll see on the replay there, those are the plays that we're not doing in indoor anymore, right? It's very explicit in the guidelines how we are to handle turn and fire situations, that you're not allowed to go through the player, through a defender who's immediately behind you. In outdoor, we don't have the same rules because, and a lot of people have made the call, why do we not harmonize these two things between the two rule books? One of the reasons is that there's so much more variability in the outdoor game because the ball can be raised intentionally or unintentionally, as long as it's not dangerous. In indoor, when the ball's on the ground, it's a lot more predictable what's going to happen, and players are always going to defend low if they have the time to get there. In outdoor, defenders can defend in all kinds of ways, and they may want to be more upright in many scenarios. So trying to outlaw turn and fires and drills in the same way probably isn't going to work, in my opinion. And Raghu has now officially lost his patience. And if he may have ducked out here, but I have a feeling that of all the conversations that were happening, either Cortez had more to say to Raghu than he should have, or he was delaying the taking of this next penalty corner and wasn't getting set, and the green card got awarded. Again, the Spanish team has their referral. If they really feel that strongly about it, just go to video. So now we have Garin coming in for Cortez. Cortez, as we all know under the rules, when a goalkeeper is carded, they personally serve the suspension. It's a personal penalty. It's them. It's not like NHL ice hockey where somebody else gets to take the penalty for you. So he's going to step off. He's going to sit in the suspension chair, and then another field player is going to come off, so we make sure that we don't have too many players on the pitch. But a goalkeeper can come in. Thanks, Raghu. Appreciate that clarification. Again, yeah, it's the impact on the game, and that's why I like that flexibility being there for the umpires. They're able to correct the scales of justice rather than just having to award a black and white foul. I'm hoping that that changes, that guideline that came out from the FIH this year. We'll see. Okay, coming up to 4:30 left in quarter two. So we've had 2 green cards already. We've got hitting the ball away by France, and we've got either a delay or misconduct with dissent by Spain. But I think it was the delay. Okay, we've got another penalty corner here, and I want you to watch this one pretty closely. We're going to go back to a clip of this one. This penalty corner is at 3:35 in Q2 if you are catching up at home. Zed, I hope that the internet isn't being laggy for you. This. Of course, I didn't ever umpire the men's team, but the women's team was exactly the same. They have improved over the last few years thanks to the guidance of people like Andrew Wilson, but they're tough. All right, we're just about ready for the injection. So the ball gets mistrapped, and there's a third party. Chalet goes down, the break goes really far away from him, up the Spanish end, and we have another penalty corner. It is 3:15 on the clock. If you can pause it there, we're going to have a look at this one a little bit. Thanks, Nina. You can tell I went to law school. Okay, so let's go look at that clip. We're going to look at this clip now.
Gone with the trap.
Okay, so again, there wasn't a lot of traffic. It was pretty easy to see that this was a third party. And yes, there was a little shove by the Spanish player. But there was a lot of drama going on. And really, Chalet is one of the tallest players in the game. If he got hit in the head with that, I would be shocked. No, I'm not saying he's embellishing. I'm just saying that on the balance of probabilities, perhaps what appears to be on the face of things was not. If Rigu had stopped time and prevented that break away from happening, the Spanish players would have been absolutely incensed, and rightfully so. He's in no danger over on that side of the circle, and this is the kind of flow that you want to see happening. I mean, maybe the stick hit him in the head, but really? No. Okay. Great anticipation by Kuhn to get in position for this. Well done, sir. Okay, so we'll just watch the replay again of that third party. You're right, Tyrone. I don't like seeing this in the game either. Luckily, you don't see it often in the women's game. I think they don't fall into that trap. Okay, we're going to get the game started again. So we are Q2 3:15 in case you haven't been able to keep in sync. Okay, and when we are ready, we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so we still have the time is stopped. And there's a little bit of chatter from the French players. And again, that's what they're talking about. They're saying, hey, but our guy was down. Here's the miracle of the whole situation is that Chalet has just been helped up at the opposing circle. He's going to come all the way back, and he's going to be able to defend this corner. You tell me. Here he comes. Okay, again, Kun did a really good job handling that little interaction with that French defender. First it was calm, and then he managed to find a little joke in there, so he is definitely being the good cop right now. So that penalty corner drag flick absolutely did go high. And again, there's calls and shouts, but the Spanish aren't availing themselves of the referral. So I think at this point we can see a lot of wolf crying happening, and Kun and Ragu are not getting caught up in that. Yeah, there aren't a lot of players that are taller than Kun, but Charlet definitely is. I think maybe Aruz of Germany might be as well. Okay, totally fine on that 5 meter. That's at 245. Again, it's fluid, it's moving. Tough calls to make, but... And we have another goal. I mean, it's nice to see the emotion. I mean, we enjoy the passion, we enjoy the spectacle of the game, and this is definitely elevated. Home turf, all that kind of stuff. It's just nice to see a little more composure when it comes to what they're directing at the umpires. Kamada running like he's a 22-year-old. Love it. Okay. Play is restarted after the goal. We're at 2:30. Danny! Peruano! ¿Cómo estás? Yeah, also be when it's that crowded around the goal, you're going to want to try some different strategies. Maybe not being quite as close. You want to be in the right closeness, but it might actually help you to take 1 step back, 2 steps back, so that you're not quite looking down at the play and getting caught up in that mix. Taking a step back can help you keep a bigger vision on that play. But Kun had it nailed. That's a great point, Jamal. Absolutely. I love watching videos of him and his manner of talking to the players. And that can be really intimidating for less experienced umpires coming out. They're like, oh, I wish I could talk to the players like that. What do you say? How do you do it? And my advice would be okay with making a lot of mistakes early in your career. You are going to start talking to the players, and all of a sudden it's going to come out like gibberish, and you're going to, what the hell? I've done that so much in my career where I instantly regretted words that came out of my mouth. Just like with everything else, umpiring is about learning from your mistakes, and you are going to really make a lot in that respect. But at this point, I'm sorry, but if you saw that at 50 seconds left in quarter 2 where Ragu literally rolled his eyes at the players, that was very cute. But it really does come with experience. But it means that you got to practice it. It means that you got to take the opportunities, make the jokes with the left defender, have a chit chat with the goalkeeper, talk to the captains before the game, talk to the coaches before the game, find the right moments, but try to engage a little bit and get to know them, not necessarily, what their favorite Disney movie is, but what are they feeling? How are they responding? And you can really pick up on, again, their body language, their eye expressions come at you very quickly. You process it quickly, and you can get a really good read. What is the temper of the game right at those moments? That's a great pickup, Mark. Absolutely. Okay, we are at the end of quarter 2. So I'm going to let you queue up, and I'm going to have a gander at some of these excellent comments that are coming in. I did not know this, Simon, about Nigel Owen said he was a stand-up comic. That's good to know. It's something that I've been doing in the last year, especially, is that my partner he's super into comedy, and we watch comedy shows on Netflix constantly. Also, right now, with everything going on in the world, I can't watch anything remotely serious. I just can't handle it. I can't handle gore. I can't handle terror, drama, apocalyptic scenes. Nope. All I want is comedy. And I'm finding it's giving me a different perspective on how the tempo of a presentation and how you're using your body language to deliver your expressions really impacts the message. So I hope, and I've been doing that specifically so that when I'm doing things like this, maybe I'm a little more entertaining, not sure. So that might be something to try yourself, is watch a little more comedy and see what you can learn from these actors. One of the criticisms I had when I was umpiring in one of my last FIH tournaments, it was an Olympic Qualifier in Antwerp, and the UMs rightly pointed out that I was quite robotic. And that's because I get very focused and stern on the field. If I had been able to develop that ability to act a bit more, to be more expressive and dramatic and comfortable doing that, even under a pressure situation, I think that would have really helped my own performance, and it might be something that will help you. And absolutely, Mike, you do not want to dwell on your mistakes. So, Jono has rightly pointed out that we are going to 1:05:51 on the FIH Live broadcast, and hopefully everybody is getting set. Just before we start, Rashid, I would love to be able to show you the broadcast in this window as well. Unfortunately, I cannot. That is a step too far in the copyright fight. The FIH has entered into exclusive agreements with their third-party broadcasters that the only source for the broadcast is going to be FIH Live and those third-party broadcasters in their geographic areas. If I show the game on this screen, I am broadcasting it. And I can make a fair use argument that this is an educational exercise, but it's a tougher one under the legal standards. And the FIH and I have come to an agreement as to how I'm able to use the material in order to reach out to you guys and do these educational broadcasts. So I'm respecting that, and that's the way it goes. Okay, so what you can do, Rashad, is make sure that you have the game. Okay, so this is why I'm cueing you guys as to where we are in the broadcast, so as best you can be synced up to what we're showing. I am in chats with the EHF. Maybe I'll be able to do this with some European games. Maybe. We're going to see what they have to say, but they might be under the same constraints, and that's just the reality of commercial arrangements right now. Okay, so if everybody's ready to go, we're going to start quarter 3, second half. When you're ready. And we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Make it so. It's a good thing I'm not awkward after I've been learning how to be a comedian on Netflix. LCB, you rightly noticed that I don't have my glass of red wine in my hand. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. I do not drink before 10. I have high standards. Okay, so we've entered an interesting phase in the game. At 2-1, Spain is where obviously they want to be. France is not, but this is kind of the scoreline that you expect given the ranking of the two teams. And it changes the entire sort of feeling on the pitch. When the underdog team is in the lead, there's so much tension. The underdog team is like, holy crap, we're winning. And the overdog team is what the hell, especially if they're naturally an emotional team. So apparently Rigu is laughing at me. This is great. So understanding how the scoreline, generally I try not to pay too much attention to what the actual score is, but knowing who's ahead and who's behind and where the teams expect to be can help you react and prepare for what the teams might be doing, whether it's tactically, whether it's emotionally, things that you're going to have to manage. Wasting time, hitting the ball away, trying to take really quick self-passes, maybe taking liberties with ball placement. These are all things that you're going to be watching for when the game isn't where the teams expect it to be. When things need to be changed, they're going to try to really push the envelope. Mark, I am clearly living on the wrong continent. We have established this very thoroughly. It's being the second last time zone in the world, I think. I was thinking maybe a mimosa next time. Just a cheeky little mimosa. Okay, so get ready. We're at 12 minutes on Q3. Koons just adjusted the ball placement on a French free hit. The ball is going to go towards the Spanish circle, and I just want you to watch. Okay, so the Spanish player did strike the ball away. For me, and it's really difficult when you watch video because sometimes the audio isn't quite synced up with reality. But it appears from that the hit away happened right as Koen Belou's whistle. So I think it's appropriate that he didn't do that. He didn't take any extra management steps and intervene in that situation. But again, that's why your whistle timing is so important. The faster, and I'm not saying that it could have been faster there, but the faster your whistle is, the less likely players can cheekily take advantage of that and hit the ball away and interrupt the flow in the game. You want the ball to be as close to the spot of the foul every time you blow it. Once you do that, and especially when you start the game like that, then you have the opportunity to open it up and allow some more advantage as the game goes. So we've got a penalty corner here called with exactly 11 minutes left in Q3. Danny, it is so nice to see you. And someday I will take you up on that beverage. Okay, this is a great play. I hope you guys are all watching this. Breakaway for Spain. Okay, so here comes a card from Rigu. And Spanish attack, don't realize the time is stopped. So if everybody can stop their clocks, the time is stopped anyway because Rigu hasn't restarted play. It's at 10:38. Yes, I would take a pisco sour right now. That would be fantastic. We're going to look at a clip of this play again because it's chaos and there's a lot going on. Okay. So this is the penalty corner. There's been a save. Rebound, a little mistrap. I went back to this. It went off his stick. Kuhn was really accurate on that one. But there was an attempted breakdown by number 7 down their attacking 23. And then he does it again just outside the defending 23. The same player. He's very fast to be able to break down the play at 2 ends of the pitch. So you'll see on the replay here comes number 7. He just runs across the attacker to try to interrupt him. It doesn't work. But then he runs across the attacker the second time, and it does work. It does interrupt the play. And it does appear that play is inside, but it is not. It is literally just outside. So I can see why we go with the personal penalty there. So Ragu had his pick, really, of the 2 fouls. But you wouldn't take 1 and 2 and then accelerate it to a yellow card because 1 green, 2 greens, no, it's the same play and you're just going to penalize one of the 2 instances and go back to it. So again, we'll watch it on the slow-mo. That does go off the Spanish player's stick. There's a collision. It's pretty 50-50. And here comes the second breakdown of play. And again, it's just he's just trying to channel off the shoulder and then barge into the running path of the attacker. That's classic breakdown, and that are the things that affect. And Ruth is asking, but he took the free hit inside the 23. Well, he didn't because he didn't want the free hit taken because the play wasn't in yet. And if he did afterwards, I think at that point, it's just if you want to disadvantage yourself, go ahead. Yeah, and here comes the ball. Yeah, it's just inside. But there, I think the impact of the foul was just outside the 23. So we're cool with that. And again, this is the question of the personal penalty, inside, outside, all that kind of stuff. There were still defenders in front of that Spanish attacker when the breakdown foul happened inside the 23, if it happened inside the 23. So I would have felt that a penalty corner in that situation would have been, right? So Mike D, is the attacker bringing the ball across the defender maybe? No. He is entitled to take that direction. He is in front. It's the defender who has to make sure that he doesn't interrupt the running path. If the defender's coming from behind, if he's made that run, the only time he can get in front of the defender is if he goes just enough around that he doesn't interfere. The attacker is entitled to dribble off to the right. Okay, coming up to 9 minutes left in Q3. Thanks, Koichi. I agree. Still lots of bodies on the floor. Lots of fun. Ball placement's a really fun thing because sometimes there's still a hangover of territory. Before the self-pass era, there was a lot more focus for teams on territory, being as far advanced up the pitch as possible. That was the most important thing. So they would cheat going further up. Now in the self-pass era, and with aerials being such a powerful weapon and tactically, it's more about space. And if you're going to achieve that space being a little further back, that's the way that I personally, when I'm playing, that's how I try to cheat with ball placement, is I try to create more space that way, because I'm just looking for bigger lanes to hit the ball through. And I don't want to be closer to the opposing team in all those situations. So it's kind of an interesting little balance, trying to figure out what are the players trying to achieve with this ball placement fudging. Like, what envelope are they trying to push here, and why? Shabby, we are playing Spain against France. FRA. Where are we on the clock? Robert, we are at 6:50. We're going to have a clip really soon, so you'll be able to catch up. Okay. Nice little tackle coming up. And we have a penalty corner. 6:25. Come on, Mark, pick it up. We're at 6:30. The good news is that if you ever watch this on replay, I think it's a lot easier to sync up your match, because you can pause the Facebook replay and then move the clock, and you're not going to miss as much. And again, I'm sorry, these are the constraints that we're dealing with, but I still think, and the feedback I've been getting is that it's still a valuable exercise to be able to watch the game in one window and then have talking head over here in another one. So here we come with a French goal, and we're going to see Kuhn taking a self-referral on this one. So he stopped time and he's going to go over to the self-referral, but first, always deal with the injured player. And I might actually skip this clip because the replay comes quite slowly and we can take a look at it. But what Kuhn's looking for, that the commentator doesn't know about, is he's looking whether there was any danger on this attacker's headfirst dive for the deflection. This is obviously a pretty sensitive area that umpires are looking at now. We know that a slide tackle by a defending player where they are attempting to regain possession of the ball from an attacker and they slide, and if they make any body contact in the action of that slide tackle, regardless of whether they got the ball first or they got the ball second or they got the ball 14th, doesn't matter. If there is body contact, that will be a 10-minute yellow card because of the high level of danger involved with that slide. The question has arisen whether an attacking slide can also qualify as a dangerous slide tackle. Now, for me, I think the two aspects are different. There's something that distinguishes those two, and that's that often the dive on the tackle isn't directly at the defensive player. So watch this replay again. We're gonna see it, and actually I will go back to the clip because it is pretty effective. Okay, so we're at 6:20, and now they're going to show the video replay of the play, and you can see that the Spanish defender stops behind. Okay, and if everybody wants to pause before we restart the play for the goal. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this clip right now. Simon will come back to the fact that I cheat when I play in a moment.
Beaten away.
Okay, and I'm going to get to the right clip. Here we go. penalty corner. Okay, so now for me the directionality, and I think Sarah agrees with this, and that's why she didn't recommend any change to Kuhn's decision, is that the dive is more across instead of straight in, plus the contact comes after the ball is touched. It doesn't necessarily mean that that won't be considered dangerous, but it is something to consider as to whether the player was disadvantaged by that diving action. So for me, these are situations that you have to deal with ad hoc. There isn't the same blanket, the same ability to apply a blanket rule as there is with a defensive slide tackle. Okay, so on my clip, hopefully, I clipped out the part where Kuhn's just standing there wondering what's happening.
Wait the decision. We await the decision.
I need to edit this clip.
Give me one more angle, please. The same one, just play it again.
Okay, I'm going to skip over this.
Your decision, you can award the goal.
Okay, so let's just watch the replay one more time. And if you have any comments or anything else that you'd like to add to this, you know, let me know. It's a very fine line. We still want attackers to have the opportunity to make these great diving plays, but we still want to protect everybody on the pitch at the same time. So if you have any comments about that one, let me know. Okay, and we're about to get started after the goal is scored. I believe we're at around 6:23 on the clock in quarter three. And we're going to get started in, whoops, let's do that. In 3, 2, 1. We're off. Like a boss, Ruth, 2 screens. Nice. My only concern is that I know that some people don't have access to that level of technology, so I'm hoping that this is still doable even on one screen. I've just got one big screen going where I've got all these windows going at once. Yeah, this is a good comment, Mark. I really like that. There's a difference between desperately trying to stop the play, hoping you might get the ball, but really knowing that chances are pretty good you're not going to get it, and then or trying to dive to create a goal. Yeah, very different. And yeah, and that's a bit of a question as well. So here we are, we're at about 5:14, and Ragu has given a big penalty stroke. Okay, so we're going to another video referral. And although the audio is really janky, you might be able to hear that Kuhn adds there might be a foot earlier on the other side of the circle, and that message goes up to Sarah. Very helpful for her, because now she knows exactly what she might want to look for, taking into account the entire play. But this is I think this is another self-referral. Yeah, it is, by Ragu. Remember that an umpire can take a self-referral in instances where a penalty stroke or a goal, they have a question about one of those two events, not for a penalty corner. Thanks, Robert. I agree. And Goddard agrees it was a goal. Good work. I guess I'm going with my hair. What's happening? Okay, so for me, Sarah's just announced her recommendation that there is no reason to change the decision. And I like that she communicates very specifically. I looked for the foot. I'm happy that there wasn't one. Stick with the penalty stroke. And then we have the stroke by Leonard. Does anybody have any comments about the stroke? This is really long. Stephen, you have just described my spirit right here. What the words say and what the game needs and what the spirit of the game is are two not different things, but the rule book is just a bedrock. It's just a basis on which you're going to be making all of your interpretive decisions. And this is the tension, the fundamental tension for umpires in our game, is that knowing the rules is just the start. But after the rules, you get the positioning, then you get the interpretation, and then you get the management of the spirit and why the rules are in place, as you said, Stephen. Knowing the why helps you with interpretation. And what factors are going to be more important in different situations. Hockey is so variable. This is not tennis. This is not even this isn't even American football. It's so many things are so highly different and highly chaotic. And if you look at a sport like, say, American football, where they have somewhat the same level of chaos, they've tried to codify absolutely everything. The rule book is hundreds of pages long. Never read it, but I'm sure it's 100 pages long. I feel like Trump right now. And what that does is it makes it so obscure that nobody's going to read the rules. The average fan never has. So is it better to have a very long rule book that is completely inaccessible to every player, many umpires, every fan, or do you want a short, concise rule book like we have that informs you of the very basics of this is how we keep the players safe, and then we interpret all of those rules on that basis? So I'm at around 3:45. My audio and video are no longer in sync, so I'm not really sure exactly where I am. So I might go to the live broadcast for Q4. So when I get to that point, we're probably going to have a bit of a longer pause and I'll get everything queued up on my end. And we all understand that desire for certainty. You know, we don't want to come across as arbitrary. And so what I try to distinguish when I'm explaining decisions, as I do often on the internets, is that these are the discrete factors that went into that decision. So it's not that it's inconsistent with another situation where there's a player diving on the floor. It's that here are the things that distinguish this from that. And I guess that's my legal training that really comes out, is that's how we're taught, is that you have to take all the facts into consideration. And if there's a difference, does that mean that that law, that rule, should be applied differently in that case? I'm spot on time. Thanks, Robert. Probably the first time ever. Maybe I need the audio and video to be unsynced. So I'm coming up to 2 minutes left in Q3. I agree, Godders. I think this is the preferred approach. I think it helps us be more nimble in the way that we react to the different tactics and the different skills that players can bring into the game, because the game and the way it's being played, especially at the top levels, is evolving far more quickly than we can possibly keep up by changing the rules every time. And let's face it, I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints that everybody has about the rules of hockey, is that they change too often. We were on a 2-year rules cycle, and that's really tough. So you can see on this aerial that if everybody's on time, as I'm hearing, so that one's really tough. Kuhn had great whistle timing on that. He was calling that as the ball was landing, and sometimes even from your best efforts, players are going to get a little bit hurt. The French attacker's stick did contact the Spanish player. He wasn't even looking, which again is part of the problem, is that the players are tracking the ball in the air. They're not looking behind them to see whose space they may be cutting into and who they might be endangering. That's our job. If you have the ability in a quieter game, you might be able to be calling it in the air. And this is a really good communication tactic to use, is to try to let the players know, that's red ball, that's red ball, that's red ball, give them 5, something like that. And that can help cue up the players. In this kind of atmosphere, I don't think that there was time, and probably the volume, there was no chance. I love the banter between you guys out there. It's really fun. Keep it going. Major bands. Oh, guys, I missed the quarter break. I got to scroll back a bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so everybody queue up. I think my audio gets back in sync, but I'm not sure. I'm going to see. Just give me a moment here, guys. Nope, don't like it. So I'm going to take Jono's advice. I'm going to scroll to 127.52 on the bar. Oh, good stuff. Okay, so I am ready-ish. I'm going to give you guys all a chance to catch that. Any other comments coming from the first 3 quarters, especially from the third quarter? I think what we've seen is, as the game's gone on, we've gotten rid of the sun issue. Kuhn and Rigu are really in sync. The whistles are coming faster, and I think they've got a good handle on what is a really, really difficult game to manage, and the stage is set. Oh, I didn't mean to take that away. Yeah, it's amazing how, they change so quickly. I feel really fortunate. I am the VP umpiring of our local city league here in Calgary, and I think we're really lucky that I'm able to get the communication into the environment where I'm, working with the most umpires and doing most of my umpiring myself these days, because there's that direct line, and I really try to push the new rules through and make sure everybody knows and that sort of thing. The first day of indoor last fall, I think I was there for 13 or 14 hours at the gym, because all of our city league matches are played on the same day, on a Sunday. And I was there for every game to make sure that everybody got the new indoor rules right, the new way that we were timing the quarters and all that kind of stuff, making sure the tech table was on par. It was a lot of work, but it really helped set the stage. And I was talking to players who weren't involved in the game, saying, hey, did you know about this? Did you know about this? Do you have any questions about the new rules? There's new rules. So just getting out there and mixing with as many people as you can and being kind of an ambassador for the rules of the game can really help your local community, your hockey family, in keeping up to speed. So don't hide yourself away. You're a third team, but you're a team of, a part of the whole community, and you can have a really beneficial impact on that. Okay, so if everybody is ready to go, I am going to start in 3, 2, 1, and let's go-ish. Oh, damn, they're still walking onto the pitch. They're walking off the pitch. Okay, I've just had my first whistle to start the game. I hope you guys are okay. You're going to see things before I do, which probably is a good thing. Okay, right at 14:30, watch in, I think it's Ragu's circle. There's going to be a stick shield in the circle. Because the video isn't great and it's really far away, I didn't bother clipping it, but the left side of the circle, the far side for you when you're controlling it, is a hot spot for stick and body shielding. You want to be anticipating the potential that is going to be coming. For me, it's coming up right here. Spanish attacker is going to dribble. I thought it was there. Maybe I'm completely off the boards. And I think you may have noticed that there's less appealing now at this point in the game. Even though we're getting closer and closer to the conclusion, this is the big time. I think the biggest reason for that is that the teams have bought in to what Ragu and Kuhn are doing. That really helps. The whistle timing has improved and really gotten where it needs to go. And the game is also where the teams are expecting. France is going to push with all of their might, but it's part of the overdog-underdog mentality, I think. Spain is now composed. They're where they expect to be, where they want to be. They're now slowing down a little bit the way that they're playing. Not unnecessarily so, but they're a lot calmer than they were in the first quarter. And you'll see, thank you, Mark. That's where the stick shield was at 14:02. My cue is wrong in my notes. Another thing that you might pick up on as you're watching the two out there on the pitch is that they are really slowing down their body language. When they have the opportunity, they're making nice, slow and deliberate 23-meter signals. They're pointing out, they're pointing up really, really slowly. Penalty corners, very slow, holding the signal, not moving too much. They're showing off this calmness that is really helping to contain what's happening in this, particularly in this fourth quarter. All of these little things all add up. Yeah, so for that stick shield that was back at 14:02, this is absolutely a part of positioning. And again, you're going to talk to your colleague before the game starts as to how you're going to cooperate in these situations. And it might be, hey, if you see that defensive free hit at the far side of the circle, you can tell I've been unsighted. I'm okay with you just calling it and getting it out quickly rather than risking play continuing and a penalty corner being earned, a shot going towards goal, something dangerous occurring. It's better to have the quick free hit whistles going in those situations. So that may be something that you and your colleague agree to before the game even starts. It's not right for everybody, but I like it, and I encourage umpires to try it at least and see whether it's something that works for them. Yeah, that's exactly the point I was making, is how they're being very intentional with how they're using their expressions, their body language. And you can see even the players when they're interacting with each other, there's a lot of respect between these two teams, which is really nice. There's, little hugs like, hey dude, yeah, we were, bashing each other up just a second ago, but we're still friends. So these are really nice. Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay, so at 10 minutes on the game clock, we're going to have another clip. So get ready to pause. Okay, so we've got at 10:15, it's a Spanish 15-meter free hit. It's not a free out, no matter what the Americans say. Okay, free hits taken quickly. An attempted tackle in the midfield. And look at that advantage getting played. Ball goes in a little high, maybe dangerous, maybe not. Now we've got a turnover. All the way into the French circle. And then there's a free hit. And we are going to stop right here at 9:30. Okay, maybe a few more seconds after that. Hi, Graham. And Kuhn is about to award a card. Actually, play your broadcast just a little more because I want you to hear what the commentator has to say. I mean, so Kuhn brings over Salas, points to him, and shows 5 minutes. Fred Soares doesn't know why. And that's okay, because I'm about to explain it to him. Okay? So we've got 9:23 on the clock, and the play is just about to go underway. But let's go to the clip, because it's fun. And this is amazing. I absolutely love this. 5. Okay. So here we are. The French have just taken their free hit, and it's moved across the field. Now, it's number 10, Salas. Okay, and I'm not just saying that because I looked at the TMS. We can see it. So I'm going to play this through. Here comes a desperation tackle. Okay, that's the breakdown. Now we have the ball careening around the circle, but Kuhn doesn't want to stop the play yet. He's playing advantage. He's playing danger, danger, danger. Lots of things happening. At any point, Kuhn could have forgotten or decided, oh, I'm going to let that go. The ball goes all the way into Ragu's end. Here comes a great chance. Amazing tackle. The ball is going to go out towards the sideline. And now, 30 seconds later, Kuhn's going to go back for the yellow card. It's so gutsy, and it's difficult. He tries to show that's where the foul was that I'm penalizing. That's where it goes. Unfortunately, the TV direction makes it look like somehow he's communicating with Soares, but he's not. He's showing the tech table, and Soares just happens to be in the vision. But this is the foul that he's come back to. This is crucial, because as the game goes on, more happens. Does anybody have any questions about that? We can talk a little bit about how to play advantages over such long periods of time, and coming back to personal penalties after you've played such a long advantage. Really tricky, but it can work. So if everybody's got their match ready to go, we're at 9:23. And let's get started. In 3, 2, 1, go. So God is just asking, what's the impact if he stays and scores at the other end? Bad luck, but it stands. There's nothing you can do, because the impact on the play, the team impact, wasn't enough to stop the play. The better option was to allow that to continue and go. So just because that player needs to have the personal message doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily always stop the play at that moment. It seems incongruous, and you don't like it to have happen, but it occasionally does. Okay, penalty corner at 8:38. Okay, no, Stephen, he wasn't subbed. Maybe a different player was subbed, a French player was subbed, but Salas went off and appropriately sat down. He knew what he had done. He's smart enough to know that 30 seconds ago he threw in a really reckless challenge and tried to break the play down, because there was so much space around that French attacker that a lot of really dangerous attacking options were available had he not tried to stop him. So that's where that went. And absolutely, Mark, very, very calm. And again, this is part of this whole very deliberate presentation in very contentious moments. Tempo of the game goes up, you come down, if you can. So yes, the teams might know the player is coming. You just have to be good enough and be patient, that if you stop time and you look for the player and you've missed and you can't see them out there on the pitch, just turn to the bench. You've stopped time. You've got the opportunity to get the right person. And that person, you just take them from the bench. Sorry, you're sitting on the wrong seat, sir. From there to there. Thank you very much. There's a lot of this. Because apparently Soyez took that yellow card for Salas in that one. You in your local competitions, and I think it's been a while since I've heard about this, but I think this is something in some of the English competition regulations, that the umpire can card the coach, but that is going to be a very specific regulation in your local area. That is not in the rules of hockey. The coach is not mentioned anywhere in the rules of hockey as someone who is subject to umpiring decisions. We're at 7:12 and the time has stopped because there is a video referral for the tackle that happened on the far sideline. Kuhn is announcing it because the request for the video referral came to him. So he's dealing with it. Not super conventional, but not against the rules either. And you can see, no, it's not. And this is a part where I wish teams spent a little more time maybe talking to umpires about what are the more strategic uses of their video referral opportunity. Trying to overrule a pitch umpire who has made a decision about the intentionality of a foul and the impact that foul has on the game is risky. And here the Spanish team is up 3-2. There's no reason to change that decision. Absolutely agree with that. And now Spain, who is up, have just lost their video referral. Instead of keeping in their pocket for the last moments of the game, maybe France earns a penalty corner that they shouldn't have and could score on that and tie up the game. Wouldn't you like to have a video referral at that moment? So these are the things that I think about, and I wonder if teams spend a lot of time thinking about their discipline in using their video referrals. One of the things that I find really helps when you're trying to play that extended advantage like that is when you have the radios, you communicate that. I'm coming back. That's number 10. That's number 10. Your colleague says, hey, that was number 10 if you want to come back to that. It's number 10. Hey, don't forget, that's number 10. And you keep talking to each other like that, in a reasonable amount until you get that next opportunity. It helps you be more decisive. It helps you stick to your guns and helps you keep it clear. And the two of you can work on that together. When you don't have the radios available, one thing that I do is when I play an advantage and I'm going to come back to a card, I pull my cards out of my pocket and I hold them in my hand. I'm committed. I have to do this. If you think, ooh, that was a card, but you don't do any physical cue that commits yourself to the next step of action, you can sometimes chicken out. And I think that you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Your gut instinct in that moment was probably the right one. Follow your heart. Umpire with your gut. That's where your truthiness lies. That's good to know. And that comes as no surprise to me, having watched the evolution of how some teams have dealt with their video referrals. This is absolutely something that they should be doing. I'm still waiting for the Canadian men to give me a call and ask me for a little bit of help on that, but who knows? So, Mark, the distinction that I want you to make and I want you to keep in mind is that the captain is responsible for the behavior of their team, but that does not include the coach. The coach is not one of their players. So under the rules, you cannot card the captain. If you can get away with it in your specific area, okay. If it's in your regulations, awesome, go nuts. But realize that you're stepping a little into a gray area, which is a little bit difficult. Okay, where are we in the game? Okay, so time's restarted again, just waiting for the graphic. Okay, we are at 5:13. Coming back. This is really long too. Absolutely right. I mean, you've stopped time because you're going to give a card. So take your time to get the player right. You can call in the captain and ask them. It's your last resort, and I've seen that in international matches, especially where the captain just will not help you. And if yes, you can send off the captain, but it's not a great look. So what I'm trying to encourage you to use other tools at your disposal, like communicating during that moment. Have it in your pregame talk. This is something that we're going to do right. When we play a long advantage on a card, let's talk about it over the radios. If we don't have radios, let's have that mental note. And if I'm stopping time for the card and I come to talk to you, be ready to tell me who it was. We are doing this together and we're going to get it right. No worries, Mark. Always happy to clarify. So yeah, there are lots of areas where this is a possibility for you. When we're at this level of play or in your local competitions where you have a tech table, this is where they earn their big bucks. It's their responsibility to deal with the coaches and to take whatever actions are necessary. I term it as umpires need to focus on what's inside the big white box, and things that happen outside that, ball people, fans, coaches, watering systems, all that stuff, don't even let it into your mind. That's technical, and that's where our tech table needs to be there. If they're not doing their job, you might have to turn around and say, hey, I need a little help here. Don't like those instances, but sometimes it happens. That's a different issue, but it's not your job to worry about everything that's happening. You're a team. Let them do their job. Thanks, Stain. It's good to know that. Did you hear the sarcasm in my voice, Stephen? None of us are earning the big bucks here. None of us. Okay, I am approaching getting to 2 minutes. Almost there. Left in the final quarter. You don't really get the feeling at this point that France is really going to get this pulled out. And to their credit, the Spanish are really keeping calm, keeping their composure. They're not appealing. When they give up a free hit, they're backing off the ball really quickly, just like that player did there at 1:38 left on the clock, resulted in a turnover. That's what discipline gets you as a team. So yeah, giving looks. Sometimes you can have quiet words, and again, those are rapport building moments. And interacting with the spectators, interacting with the coaches in the right setting, it can work. You just want to be a little careful. Again, don't allow it to distract you from what's happening inside the big white box, because nobody else is going to help you with that. The tech table isn't going to help you with that. The players aren't, well, they're going to try to help you with that. That's your job. So don't let those little interactions get in the way. Coaches love to enter into a dialogue with you. And sometimes it's an intentional tactic. They're trying to distract you because, I don't know, they think you're going to become a better umpire because of it if you're not paying attention to the game. But don't get sucked in. It can be a quiet word, quiet comment. They respond back to you, no more. And off you go. I'll say things like, gotta go, and run away. The whole, let's take care of that later. Let's talk about it later in the pub. That's really helpful. Shouldn't happen. Okay, we're at 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. We have a time stoppage and we have another card. And look, it's Mark Salas's second yellow card, which turns into a red. It was the same foul. It's a breakdown, all that kind of stuff. It's not for Soye. Okay, you can see on the replay. And now Soye's really confused, right? Because he still doesn't realize that he didn't buy into why Salas was carded in the first round, because he didn't remember the tackle that happened 30 seconds earlier. If he had, there would have been a different reaction and maybe not that derisive, applause afterwards. And this is why I feel like it would be great if teams had a manager who, in amongst all of their incredible amounts of responsibilities, they had a manager who was very well educated on the rules, perhaps was an umpire, and can help to explain these things, because it can be a strategic advantage to understand better what's happening out on the pitch. Not happening there, though. Okay, so France took a flyer there, hoping that they might be able to get a penalty corner for an intent out of that foul that happens just outside the circle. It wasn't there. Now watch what Kun's doing here. Ragu is also, he's in front of the 23. He's helping manage the free hit placement, because this is crucial. There's 6 seconds left on the clock. They want to get it right. Kun's now standing in the middle of the circle, and he's making sure that the players aren't tugging on each other. He's right in the mix of it. I'm not going to screw around if he's standing next to me. Waits until he gets back to his spot, and then he starts time. Okay? All of those steps together, the cooperation between the two of them, managing taking the time, making sure they get back into the spots that they need to be in order to be in control of the final seconds where a big decision might need to be made. Crucial. Okay, really good examples there. And yeah, in terms of dealing with spectators, that's something that can be a custom. It might be a local regulation thing. It might be a policy within your league that teams are responsible for their spectators. And I don't mind that. I think it's great the more that you have. One of my personal tactics actually is when there are tournaments in my local area and there may be a tech table involved, is as an umpire manager, I actually walk around and mix and mingle with the spectators. And sometimes I'll hear a question, I'll be saying, hey, I can tell you a little bit about that fella if you want to hear it. Or if I'm not happy with the conduct of a particular spectator, I might make a joke with them. Let them know that I'm there. I may ask them to come have a chat with me over there and say, hey, I think you and I could use a little time together. Let's go over here. And I pull them away because I don't want to humiliate them and embarrass them. But I also want to show them the human side. And I might use phrases like, hey, these are my players. Those umpires out there, I'm trying to teach them and train them. And I understand that you're frustrated. They're learning, they're getting better, they're improving just like the players who are out there. Let me deal with them. I pass on lots of feedback and lots of things that they can work on, but they don't need to hear the negativity from you, and it distracts everybody from watching a great game. Let's celebrate what the players are doing instead. And sometimes it works. Use your charm. All right, so that's the end of the game. One of those rare instances where you see a red card in international play. Happens very seldomly, but I like the way that it was presented. It was absolutely right. That breakdown, 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter, unquestionably. Also dangerous, it was physical. There you go. Yeah, agree. Everything was very calm in the game. Really liked that. So James, let's go to this question that you have. Is there a specific directive to show the yellow and then a red rather than show the red straight away for the second offense? And I wouldn't say it's a specific directive, but it's definitely custom. And I think it adds to the clarity because you are indicating that that wasn't a straight red offense. And it can help the spectators, the players, coaches understand why it's led to a red card. If you whip out the red, they're like, well, that's harsh. So it helps, mitigate those questions. It also takes a little bit more time. It's another area in which you can show calm presentation. Boom, boom. Everything's cool. It's like, hey, I had to give the red. You could even see it with Kuhn's body language. No question about it. So that really helps. Let's see, what else have I met? And what that helps to do is also twig the technical crew, the tournament director, to the fact that it was a second yellow to a red because it will be treated differently for disciplinary purposes. There will be a conversation that happens if this is in a tournament setting. The tournament director should be pulling that player aside and having a conversation with that player and the manager to go through what happened in the game and to perhaps administer a warning as to what would happen with any further misconduct and any further yellows or perhaps reds that happen in the tournament. So it helps manage the situation over the entirety of the tournament as well. So that really helps. So can the player play in the next international game? That is up to the tournament director. And these aggregate one-off matches in Pro League, it's a very novel situation, right? So in terms of the regulations, there's nothing specific about that, and it would be up to the technical director. To call them a tournament director is, when it's a 2-game tournament, is a little bit of a misnomer. But if they felt that additional disciplinary action was required, that might be a ruling that they make, and then that would carry on to the next game. I remember, for example, I can't remember what tournament it was, but England was playing Argentina, men, and it could have been Euros, it could have been something else. Bronze medal game, and Argentina played with too many players on the pitch for 15 minutes of the second half. And when you were watching the game, it was crazy because you could just see that there was just like this wall of players. And England was doing all the right things, but they just couldn't get out of their own half. And you're like, wow, that is really whole. And then when time was stopped and everything was dealt with, after 15 minutes of this being the situation, you went back in the broadcast and you counted all the players and went, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. That's why. So a yellow card was issued to the captain in that instance, and then that captain had to serve I think it was a 1-match ban. Of course, Argentina had a test series against Chile that may or may not have been pre-planned, and that's when the Argentinian captain served their match ban in a match that didn't matter whatsoever. So just like with any other international sport, these are the complications that come with trying to institute bans for matches that are standalone or are right at the end of a tournament. So there you go. Stain, good to see you. Thank you. Happy Easter to you as well. Good to see you all. I know you're all busy and appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. This is just a term of art that is used in some areas, technical reds, and just keep that in mind that we've got a global audience. So I try not to use terms that aren't in the rule book, that aren't widely accepted, especially for people who are listening in, that English isn't their first language. So these are things that can make things a bit more complicated for everybody. No, I wasn't saying that this incident happened. Yeah, it wouldn't have been Argentina. You're right. Definitely not Euros. It could have been World Cup 2014. I don't know. It was a few years ago anyway. Thank you, Robert. Glad you enjoyed it. Let's skip to the Ireland game. No, Ruth, we are not doing Canada-Ireland. Ever. Ever. Because a riot's going to break out in my white box. Thank you very much, Graham. Any other questions from you guys about anything that happened in the game or didn't happen in the game? You're very welcome, Daniel. I'm glad that you took the opportunity to watch the game in your secondary screen. I'm looking forward to the FIH getting all these viewership numbers. Thanks for the Zeds. Happy Easter to you too. Thanks, Koichi. I'm glad you joined in. It's great to have everybody coming on. Okay, James, I'll put this on the screen. That's interesting. So what you're saying is that you've got a league-specific point system allocated to when cards are awarded. So I guess the question would be, how do you deal with that at your local level? And that might be something that if you're not clear about, that you want to get clarification. Now's a great time. Everybody's sitting around not actually umpiring hockey. So it's something that you can send to your league coordinators and maybe figure more about that, because yeah, you wouldn't want them to accumulate those points. So it's up to you whether that second yellow card is where the points come in, or if you don't give the points for that second yellow and the points go for the red. Not sure how you would deal it. Yeah, that's really good to know. Thanks, Mike D. It was great to see you. Ruth, I can't do it. It's just not going to happen. I'd also spend the entire game going, look, there I am, because I was actually in Vancouver watching the game, doing a development group at the time. So I'd just be too busy looking for myself in the crowd. Don't we all do that? Any other questions, guys? Let's see what's happening. Thanks, Mark. It was so good to see you again. I appreciate it. Kevin, hi. I'm glad you were here. Okay, just a little more clarification on the technical red thing. Good to know, Stephen. Any other questions from the broadcast? Okay, so for those of you who are still sticking in here, there's 24 of you still here. This is crazy. Remember, the next broadcast, and I know this is going to be a tough one for some people in some time zones, but Wednesday at 6 GMT, I think it is. It's 12 midnight for me. I'm going to have David Tomlinson on, and we are going to be watching and enjoying the Spain-Argentina match from Pro League last year in June. Apparently, he's got lots of stories to tell about it. I'm super excited, so you're not going to want to miss it. Raghu and Lim, and let's see, Sarah's been on before, so we're going to get Sarah to come on and lead us through one of her games. It's going to happen. It's going to be fun. And Stephen, you don't have to apologize for being a pedant with me. I'm a big fan of pedants. As long as you're ridiculously good looking, you can be as pedantic as you want. Byron, you're very welcome. It was good to see you again. Thanks for tuning in from South Africa. Anybody else with a question? Remember, you can always DM me. You can send me an email at keely@fhempires.com. I love to hear from you all. These are great. You're very welcome, Stephen. Great time had by all. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next Umpire at Home Facebook Live. Wednesday. Be there. I'm going to be drinking wine again because it's going to be midnight. Thanks for joining in. Happy Easter. Keep staying at home. Stay safe. Bye.